Okay, in this video, I want to talk about why I'm making material about you're being lied to about the knuckleball. And really, we're going to be talking about incentive structures and how they align. And so, with the knuckleball, I've been seeing people talking about, oh, my coach, she doesn't like the knuckleball. So we're not, it's like, okay, well, think about it. Why would your coach just be all about the knuckleball when that's something that will take, say you're 12 years old and it's going to take you months to get a good knuckleball, and to get a really good one it could definitely take years for it to be a pitch that's absolutely filthy, but you could probably start throwing a pretty decent one in months. But what is that to your coach? Your coach doesn't even know if you're going to be on his team in a couple of months. He doesn't know if you're going to quit, which happens all the time in travel ball. You quit, go to a rival. I know I was a travel ball coach. You're going to quit, you're going to go to a rival, he's going to cut you, okay? Your performance is going to drop, he's going to stop liking you, whatever it is, okay? This is not his incentive for, like, oh yeah, let's have you develop some project that's going to take time. And then maybe you try throwing the knuckleball for the first time and it's not good, because his incentive, and just guys, think about this. This is true with everything, but we're going to talk about it in baseball. The travel ball coach, okay, barely paying his bills, barely making any money. He's going out to the middle of nowhere for these tournaments, and maybe he's, in some ways, he's a good person. He's trying to give back, but it's, believe me, it's a frustrating thing to be a coach. You've got all this drama, and then you're asking him, okay, I'm trying to learn something new. It's like, look, he's like, go into this game and throw what you can throw first strikes as hard as you can. Let's win a game so that everyone's not mad at me. I can get a ring, and then maybe I can, have another team where I can keep the players that I have so that I don't go bankrupt, and, like, I can keep my life together. That's his incentive, and it's true, okay? But, if you're a parent watching this, think of this as, this is just the way all of life is. Think about, your job. Like, your manager at your company isn't looking at, okay, how do I make sure this guy's whole life is better? Okay, how do I make sure he has good work-life balance? How do I make sure that his career 5 years, 10 years down the road is better? He's able to make more money. He wants to make money now so he doesn't lose his business, right? This is true with everything. And so if you're an adult and you're working, for a company, of course, you're trying to help the company because you want to keep your job, but you're also, and maybe even more so, looking at what you need long term, okay? Making sure you have work-life balance so you don't burn out, or maybe you want to go hard at that time. It's whatever it aligns with your interests. And so that 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, your life is set up the way you want it to be. And you have to make those decisions for yourself. So the same thing as a 12-year-old. For some reason, we think when, our 12-year-old, our 15-year-old, our 17-year-old, whatever it is, but especially when we're, 9 to 12, we think we're going to go to our coach who's barely making it, and he's going to give you the advice that's pertinent for your long-term career. He's going to give you advice to help him win the next game so he doesn't get fired. Every single player quits, which you guys see all the time in travel ball. That's the way it works. Everybody quits, and then he's on the street. He's trying to avoid that. And so that's why when you get into travel ball, most of the time you see players trying to throw a max effort, and you see them throwing like 1 or 2 pitches with not even good mechanics, because it's just, okay, I throw a fastball, curveball for, decent strikes, and that's all I'm doing. And they're like, oh, I want to learn something new. And then they get to the next tournament and it's like, oh, it's not ready yet. This is a high pressure situation. I got to go with what's working. High pressure situation when you're 12? What are we doing? Look, if we have a couple big tournaments when we're 12, that's fine. But this has now become the whole year, nothing but these big tournaments. Develop, and then if you want to go to a big tournament, at the end, and what we've developed we use there, but really we have no developmental time ever now, because it's nothing but big tournaments every weekend or every other weekend from like the age of 8. And so of course we're not developing an arsenal. Of course we're not developing our mechanics. Of course we're not developing a knuckleball, even though if you developed a knuckleball when you were young, it would be extremely good when you're older and separate you from everybody. And it would just be that easy, wouldn't it? But like we said, it's the same thing, everything in life. What if you were a young adult and you just learn to save and invest your money and invest in your skill set, and then you're rich, but your employer's not going to tell you that, right? Because that's not his incentive. His incentive is for you to be a slave and not try to improve yourself, actually, right? That's actually true. Same thing for your kid. And so that's why we're putting out all this information, because my incentive, okay, being honest, is, to develop the knuckleball for your son and then keep him going as far as we can to the big leagues, because then you're happy, your son's having an incredible career, and then of course I'm using that as, like, look, this is evidence, this is how the knuckleball works. We are helping people all over the world. You guys see that on my page. All over the world, guys are learning it, doing incredible. That's my incentive. So my incentive, I think, aligns with the long-term goal much better than a travel ball coach. I used to be a travel ball coach for almost 10 years, so I know exactly how that world works 100%. Fortunately, never had a kid with a serious injury, because didn't go, above what was, the reasonable, kind of pitch counts that I thought. But I just thought it was an insane world, and so I'm glad I'm out of it. And now I can align my incentives with the what should be the incentives of the parents and the players to develop them from, younger all the way up into the big leagues. So what do you guys think? Does this fit with your experience in travel ball and the current baseball culture? Let me know down in the comments, and any other future material you'd like me to cover. We'll see you guys in the next one.